Good evening, Ravens flock. The Baltimore Ravens got the job done today against the Washington Commanders. Whew. It was a tough one, but we did it. And here to recap the game with me is Rio Robinson from YouTube, internet guru for the Washington Commanders himself, is here to share his thoughts as we recap the game together. Let's bring him on in. Good evening, Rio. Thank you so much for joining. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I could be doing better around this time, but I'm not going to lie. After watching Dallas play against the Lions, our loss to you guys, a much better football team, feels a lot better right now.
I know this is probably not going to sound good. I know people say moral victories but you guys played a heck of a game. And so it's nothing for you to shake a stick at. It's nothing for you to hold your head down and be, down in the dumps. Wow, your team is very, very good. If you can start by giving just a quick introduction of who you are, what you have going on here on YouTube, and then we'll dive right into today's recap of the game.
Absolutely. My name is Rio Robinson. I'm from Northern Virginia. My whole family hails from Washington, D.C. on both sides. I do a YouTube channel. It's my name. It's Rio Robinson, but the show is called Rambling About Washington. We ramble about the Washington Commanders on all fronts. We do daily content, streams, and on game days, I go live all day. I was live from 9:30 a.m. to the end of our game, and 30 minutes past that. I just got off stream not too long ago, but everything Washington Commanders on my channel.
Awesome. His links to his YouTube channel and where you can connect with him on X are in the description box. So please make sure that you go over, subscribe, and give him a follow. Let's dive right into it because I know Rio's going to stay with us just for a little bit. But Rio, going into this game, what were your thoughts about this matchup?
Oh, we were flying high. We were coming off 4 straight victories after dropping our first game of the season. And this was our first 4-1 start in 16 years since 2008. 16 whole years ago. You're talking about almost 2 decades of football since our last 4-1 start. I'm looking on paper at your 31st ranked pass defense, and I'm like, we got going to take advantage of. I'm sitting here like maybe that run defense is a little bit hyped on Baltimore's side because they haven't seen a real rushing attack yet. But we got learned a little bit today. We got a little bit of humble pie on a Sunday afternoon. But ultimately, I hate to play moral victory gymnastics, but I like the way we played in totality. But our defense wanted no parts of playing against your offense today.
Let's start with that. And we're going to talk about both sides of the defense, ours and yours. But let's start with your defense matched up against our offense. One thing I said in the pregame show that I did on the channel on Thursday, the Baltimore Ravens have Lamar Jackson at the helm leading this team and he comes with a lot of experience. 2-time league MVP, last week's AFC player of the week. This is a man who just really can just dice a defense up. And that's what he did. And and with the addition of Derrick Henry now, our offense just seems to be a lot better than what we have been in years past. What were your thoughts when you saw Lamar Jackson spreading the ball around to his receivers and passing the ball off very well to his running backs?
See, Derrick Henry, his numbers ended up adding up to a dominant game, but it really didn't feel like it was a heavy dose of Henry all day. But Lamar Jackson just diced us up. It was very surgical. He sat in the pocket all day, comfortable. Like we got bailed out on the first drive of the game. We caught our first interception of the season. Shout out to my rookie missile, Mikey Sainris, still out of Michigan. He caught a pick early. We forced a punt, and it looked like it was mano-a-mano. It was going to be a shootout, whatever offense gets the ball last type situation. But Lamar found a comfort zone against our guys. I'm not one to point to injuries or referees. I'm not the guy who does that. But Dorrance Armstrong banging up his ribs, he's our only real pass rusher on that front line. Once he went down, there was no pass rush for the rest of the day. Dante Fowler got 2 sacks, but Lamar was able to kick his feet up on the couch, eat a snack, have a beverage, and make a sandwich before completing a pass, and he made it look easy. Zay Flowers looked like the second coming of Tyreek Hill today, man. It was bad for the defense.
I couldn't have said it better. Excuse me. And I do have a couple of super chats. And to everyone who's joined in the stream, I see all of you. I'm just going to say hello, give you a quick shout out to those who've already joined. I see Equip Institute, Rave Kingdom, Lead Commander, Realistic Washington Fan. I welcome all of you. Thank you so much. The Hawk TV, Frank G. I see all of you. Thank you for being here. Rogue, Pod, Hendo. I see Killer Cam, Joe Leonard. I've got a couple of super chats, and I just wanted to say thank you to the Hawk TV. Cheers to all. Thank you so much. Also, a super chat from 86 Ghosts, Brandon Bazel. Thank you very much. I'm very humbled and grateful for that. Thank you. Yeah, this was a win. Just Tornado. I see you. Let's go Caps. Agnes, you're right. Rio, Zay is coming into his own, as Agnes said. Watching him today, with those accurate throws, because there's been so much talk about Lamar Jackson not being an accurate passer and he's not being an efficient quarterback. Does he make some mistakes here and there? Absolutely, he does. But name one quarterback who doesn't. So
Don't exist.
there's not one out there. But for me to watch Zay Flowers just really go after the ball, yards after the catch, and fight, he literally looks like he's out there saying, okay, I dare you to come near me. And that's kind of what he looks like. He has that, he has that aura. So yes, absolutely. Your defense had a difficult time. Your defense honestly had a difficult time. But then again, so did ours. We'll get into that in a minute. But what were your thoughts really on how your defense, specifically your linebackers and in moving into your secondary, as Lamar was throwing those passes, what were you thinking about your defense going up against our offense?
Yep, I touched on the pass rush earlier. Going from the linebackers to the back end of the defense, Bobby Wagner was active, but our linebackers were getting beat. I'm not sure Mark Andrews was alive this season, and all of a sudden he's getting back in the mix. He's making big plays. He's 30 yards wide open, so we're back to miscommunication. We're not passing on zone coverage correctly. We're missing tackles. Every time Zay Flowers caught the ball, he's not a big, physically dominant player. He broke a tackle every time he caught a pass today. Our cornerbacks are our biggest Achilles heel on this football team. And Benjamin St-Juste, he literally extended 2 drives for y'all, just holding, being lost, and getting burnt on a consistent basis. Our cornerback room is going to be a problem. It was a problem, and we got a couple off seasons to go till we get the secondary figured out here. But, man, we couldn't stop anything y'all wanted to do today. If you wanted to run, you could do it. If you wanted to pass short, you could do it. If you wanted to pass intermediate, and y'all didn't necessarily have to take any shot plays. Y'all were giving them out like Oprah gives out cars. Zay Flowers, you get some. Mark Flowers, you can have some too. Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, you could get 28 too. Everybody's getting chunk plays. Our defense had no stop to you. All we were feeling like as a fan base was just give number 5 a chance to tie it up, and I think we'll have a shot because we know your quarterback is special, 2-time MVP, but we got one of those on us now too, and he's special. He is like my only silver lining from today.
Absolutely. Well stated and understood. I will say our offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, called a really good game today. Called it a very good game. And in conclusion, in terms of our offense, we did what we needed to do. We put points on the board. We were able to score. That first interception had me really upset because I don't think that was wholly on Lamar Jackson. Was the pass perfect? Probably not. But was it catchable? It certainly was. So
Very.
I think Mark Andrews could have caught that pass, but it turned into an interception. But that's now on Lamar Jackson's record. He's got 2 of them for this season, and we got to clean up those types of mistakes. Mark Andrews did make it up later in the game where he came through with that touchdown. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass for that, but. Yeah. I other than Bobby Wagner on your defense, I really didn't see a whole lot. A couple of players here and there. And we can have a look. We can have a look real quick while we finish talking about it. Let's just have a look real quick at some of the
It's not
stats.
much to see, Yolanda, but we can take a look
We
at it
can
if you.
take a look. Okay. All right. So, in terms of your ability, your defense's ability to just kind of hold the Ravens offense in check. Like I said, I saw Bobby Wagner. He's leading your team. For this game, he led your team in 12 total tackles. Other than that, yeah, you have Jeremy there making a few plays. One thing I did take note of, you guys kind of got after my quarterback. They were able to put Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson had, how many sacks did you guys have this time?
I know Fowler had 2. I believe we had 3, maybe 4 on the day, but they didn't come at points that really killed drives for you guys. But
Right.
shout out to Fowler for getting 2 today.
Yeah. I think you got two sacks, but you got after the quarterback with some QB hits. You had 4 of those. You had a tackle for loss. You had 5 of those. So you were coming through, so to speak, in terms of trying to slow our offense down. But other than that, I think that's where we had the advantage just because of the sheer experience of Lamar Jackson. He was able to kind of extend plays like he normally does. He was able
Time
to.
of possession also 26. Y'all had 26 minutes with the ball. Y'all had 13 minutes up on us.
That's what we
36.
do.
36.
That's what we do. And the only way to slow down the Ravens offense is to kill the time of possession, really. Especially now that we have the bruiser and Derrick Henry. Our goal here is to wear your defense out, to run you down, to keep your offense sitting on the sideline and just wear your defense out. And that's kind of what we did today. But let's move over now to your offense.
Please.
Versus your offense versus our defense. Talk to me about it. How did you feel about Jayden Daniels today?
Oh, if there is one thing we could be excited about on a week in, week out basis as we sit here at 4-2 at the top of the NFC East, we finally got one of those guys. We got one of those special brand of playmakers at quarterback. Was it a perfect day? Absolutely not. Are there a couple throws he would like to have back? But 269 yards, 11 incompletions, and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers versus a Ravens defense that pretty much had us sniffed out and figured out for most of the day. The only reason we had a chance in this game and y'all didn't boat race us by 30 or 40 points is because number 5 kept things balanced on the offensive side of it. And we didn't even play. Cliff Kingsbury's been calling some masterpieces this season. He called a very questionable game, and we were still able to be effective on offense because number 5 is one of those guys.
That's well said. Jayden Daniels, I think you have found your quarterback of the future. You have one in him. You do. You do. Now, I just want to say this. Shout out to all the Commanders fans who joined in the chat. I see you, Santiago Bond. He said he was going to come through, and he told me win or lose, he was going to be here. So I appreciate you. But yeah, Ravens third ring. Daniels is special. He is. And I think we see it because we saw it in Lamar Jackson when nobody believed it. When people had, their skepticism about him in terms of him being an accurate quarterback, et cetera. And even still today, we believed in Lamar Jackson. And I think we're seeing very similar, not identical, but very similar terms of that specialness in Jayden Daniels. So yeah, he played a heck of a game. He did. He did.
I think what made me most proud is y'all neutralized his legs. Y'all took away the Jayden Daniels electrifying running aspect, and he was still able to move the chains on a consistent basis.
He was. And I think credit to our defense in that regard. I'm not giving our defense a whole lot of credit. I promise you I'm not doing that. But credit to our defense for being able to immobilize or to, like you said, to kind of stabilize Jayden Daniels a little bit, to contain him. And I think that's because our team in practice, day in, day out, week in, week out, we are practicing or they're going up against a Lamar Jackson. So they have that type of experience with an evasive quarterback who's able to escape the pocket, who's able to extend plays with his legs, who's able to throw on a dime. They have that type of experience. So going up against the Jayden Daniels should have been easier than perhaps a team that doesn't have that type of quarterback at the helm. But yeah, he's certainly special. Our secondary, in terms of I'll even start with our linebackers. We struggled to defend the middle of the field. Our secondary, Marcus Williams, touchdown scored on him. Our cornerbacks, why can't Brandon Stevens turn around and, turn his head and we have a lot of room for improvement. But one thing I said, we cannot let Scary Terry get heated and get hot, and we have to contain Zach Ertz. Two things we struggled in today. What were your thoughts about how your two players, Zach Ertz and Scary Terry, performed?
Yeah, before I get to both of them too, we knew it was going to be a big loss. Brian Robinson Jr., our leading rusher in our rushing attack, RB1, over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was the one before today who was 1 touchdown behind Derrick Henry for the league lead in rushing touchdown. We knew it was going to be a different type of game, but I figured we have a 3-headed rushing attack with Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, and Jayden Daniels. We were still going to be able to do it. Y'all completely eliminated running from happening today. So y'all, from the very get-go, said, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to make Jayden Daniels pass on us all day long. And Jayden was able to find Terry a couple times in the end zone, but y'all never let him get any big plays. Y'all never let him stretch the field on your defense. I'm thinking Marlon Humphreys is not 100%. He was in a walking boot this week. We're going to be able to target him. Nate Wiggins was having a good game. Stevens was doing well in coverage versus Terry. Zach Ertz, we were able to, in the second half, we were starting to find a rhythm guarding him. He doesn't have any type of speed whatsoever at this point of his career, but Ertz, Noah Brown, and Terry, that's about all we had today. We had an early drop that helped swing momentum into your side from Olamide Zaccheaus, which forced a punt in a time where punting should not have been an option, because we knew at some point, if we give Baltimore the ball back without scoring on our end, we may be cooked. And as soon as that started happening, Baltimore started to run away with it.
You're right. So true. And one thing that I will say that it was a disappointment for me in this game, and those who are watching in the chat, feel free to weigh in, and I'll take some comments in just a few moments. But one thing that I was really disappointed in our defense, where was our pass rush? Where were our edge rushers? Where was Kyle Van Noy? And we can take a look at stats. I don't really want to, because we're just going to see a bunch of zeros down the screen. But where was Odafe Owe? Where was David Ojabo? That's what I wanted to see going into this game, because I know that if you get pressure on a Jayden Daniels, who is young and inexperienced, and I don't know that he's really faced a defense that can do that, can apply that type of pressure yet. I was hoping that we could get that to just kind of limit your ability to convert on third down. When you guys started converting even on fourth down, I think 2 different occasions. One, you converted on fourth down. The other one, I believe, was a defensive PI that resulted in an automatic first down.
We are a fourth down. We are number 1 in the NFL, 10 for 10 on fourth downs in 2024.
We can't allow that. And the only way in my mind to stop that, break that streak, is to get some pressure on Jayden Daniels. And we just didn't seem to do that. So Rod Wave, I agree. Yeah, the Commanders O-line, they held up today. They were very good.
They've been balling. That's why I seen some people try to pile on Andrew Wiley in my chat. And I said, hold on, y'all. Our O-line is holding up pretty steady. The couple hits Jayden Daniels took today were because of some weird getting too cute Cliff Kingsbury calls, but they held up. Kyle Van Noy had 6 sacks coming into today, and I don't think he sniffed Jayden Daniels today.
Didn't even get near him. Did not even get near him. So we have a lot of stuff to clean up in terms of our defense. Certainly we can clean up some things on offense too, but overall, the game was one that had my heart beating really fast, because I figured at any moment, because of how good Jayden Daniels is and how effective he's been this season, I was worried that our defense was just not going to hold up. And what we've experienced as Ravens fans are fourth quarter collapses, and I started to worry. I started to get nervous, but we were able to come out with the win. And, I'm happy that we took command of the Beltway today. So the answer, the question has been answered. The answer is out there. The Baltimore Ravens, until further notice, we are taking command of the Beltway. You're on notice
Okay.
of that.
Y'all can have that highway at the end of the day. But don't you knew it once y'all got the ball back, even with Jayden Daniels giving us a chance, you knew y'all were just gonna go back down the field and score again, right?
I figured we were. I figured Lamar Jackson was going to what he does so many times. He puts on that Superman cape and he does what he does best. He marches right down that field. And I just figured he was going to have to do that again. But it's good that we have Derrick Henry who can be that fourth quarter closer for us, so Lamar doesn't have to do it all by himself like he's had to do heretofore. Rio, I'm not going to hold you much longer, but just want to share your final thoughts because I know you have to run. What were your final thoughts on today's game?
I talked a lot of trash this week. I riled a lot of the Ravens fan base up. You gotta bear with me. It's our first time being 4-1 in 16 years. We finally got a quarterback, so we were flying high coming into M&T Bank Stadium today. Respect to Baltimore, respect to y'all's fans, and respect to Lamar Jackson. To people who still say and throw the typical black quarterback tropes of a running back or any of that nonsense around, please dead these narratives till forever, because he's not that and neither is Jayden Daniels. I love to see two high character, high quality black quarterbacks going blow for blow in a game today. Respect to Baltimore Ravens Nation.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being here, Rio, and just kind of sharing your thoughts, recapping the game. If you'll just let everyone know really quickly where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. Rio_Robinson 91. You'll catch me stirring it up on Instagram or on X, formerly known as Twitter. Rio Robinson on YouTube. Shows called Rambling with Rio or Rambling About Washington. You will see me going live or making a video at all time or any hours of the day. Come have some fun on that side.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you again. And I'm sure our teams will meet again sometime in the postseason. But until then, best of luck to your team as long as they are not facing my Baltimore Ravens.
Absolutely.
All right.
Best of luck to y'all.
All right. Take care. Thank you again for joining. Oh, gosh, little Joker. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It's something about the teams that are in purple. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The Vikings are doing amazing. I think you guys was this your bye week this week, little Joker, I think? But you guys are undefeated on a roll. So yeah, it is something to be said about the teams in purple. A huge shout out again to Rio Robinson for joining the chat and joining the conversation tonight. It was an excellent suggestion by Joe Leonard. Thank you, Joe, for, putting me in touch with Rio Robinson. It was really good. Hey, Scotty, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I just want to say, Ravens fans, we have a lot to be excited about. We are now finally learning how to win games. But even with that, we have a lot to clean up. This defense, for as much as we have invested in them, for as much as we have said so many times throughout the years, defense wins championships. Well, if that be true, is our defense going to win us a championship the way we're looking right now? Absolutely not. What about our Darius Washington? I didn't even bring him up because I was trying to be respectful of Rio's time. But what about the dropped interception by our Darius Washington? It could not have been more perfectly thrown to our Darius for him to make that catch. It wasn't that our Darius had to reach or it was right there in his breadbasket, and you got to make those catches. Where are the turnovers on defense? So although I am really happy that we got the win, I am. I don't want to cloud the win with things that I'm seeing that are not so great, but our offense is doing what it's supposed to do. Our offensive line is holding up. Derrick Henry is coming through. We're spreading the ball around to different receivers. We're utilizing our targets. Everybody's contributing in a big way. And shout out to, Mark Andrews for making that touchdown because he needed to make up for it. And he did in a big moment. But let me hear from you in the chat. What were your thoughts of the game? What were your takeaways? Were you happy about the win? Obviously, I hope we all are. But what did you feel about some of the areas of deficiency? Roquan Smith, he had a better game, but he's just not a cover linebacker. He's not. He does not look good in coverage. These are issues that we cannot continue to ignore. We can't mask them. And I think Agnes said it best earlier, that, it's good that we had a win. It is. And I see you, Frank G, said a win is a win. Yes, it is. But if we continue to struggle against elite teams, especially when we're facing teams that have elite wide receivers or offensive weapons, it's going to be a tough task for us. But again, I'm happy that we got the win. I am. Makalani says, none of our DBs are ball hawks. Maybe Wiggins. Maybe. And it's too soon to tell. 5 games into the season, he's a rookie. I'm not sure. He could be. But he has to learn there's a balance. And he even admitted it early in the offseason after he was drafted. There's a balance when you come into the NFL on being able to be sticky in coverage and not having a million yards in between you and your, the person that you're covering. But there's also, you can't pick up these DPIs. You can't pick up the defensive PI penalties. Those, to me, especially if you're on a crucial third down, and you see Rio Robinson even told you they are 10 for 10 on fourth down. Why couldn't we stop them from converting on fourth down? Not one time. Not once. That's a problem. And Davon said he couldn't agree more. Defense has to join us in these games. We need some defensive spark plays. We do. We do. And unless we have complementary football, we're going to continue to see our team struggle to get across the finish line. I didn't think that this was going to be a blowout, but I did think that we would come out a little bit sharper on defense than we did. And okay, I was disappointed. Osmond says, it's encouraging we are improving week to week. I think we are improving on offense week to week. I will agree with you there. On defense, I'm not sure that I'm seeing the improvement, especially because when we started the year, we were getting pressure up the middle. We were on our defense. We were also getting pressure from our edge rushers, and we were getting sacks. We've since tailed off from then. Maybe the last 2 games. I know at least the last 2. So, and to see, Marlon Humphrey had a pretty good game. And I mean, I'm certain I can share the stats with you and we can talk through them. But I don't know, Osmond, to see that we are improving week to week on defense. I don't see it. I don't see it. And it concerns me because I want us to be able to play complementary football. Let me take 2.5 and tell you this. If you're enjoying the content and you enjoyed seeing Rio Robinson join the show, please do me a favor, take 2.5 and hit the like button for me. It does so much for the channel, helps the channel a ton. And if you're new, welcome. If you're a Commanders fan, keep your head up. This was a really good game, hard fought. Keep your head up. Subscribe to the channel, join the family. Everyone's welcome around here. But imagine, and I'm going to say this, imagine if you are going to work and you're doing a great job on your job. You're a good employee. You do your work. You come in, put your head down. Stellar employee. And then your boss comes to you and says, "Worker, whatever your name is, listen, we have this new kid on the block, or we have this new person joining our team. Can you just kind of like do their work for them for a while they get acclimated? Oh, by the way, we're not paying you anything more, but can you just shoulder your load plus their load?" Well, okay, you think, all right, I want to be a good employee. I want to do the right thing. You might try to shoulder somebody else's load or help where you can for a while, but wouldn't you get tired of that after a while? Wouldn't you want to be able to say, okay, I'm pulling my weight, I'm contributing as I'm supposed to, or what's expected of me. I would like the same for my coworker to do the same so that I don't have to do both of our jobs. That's kind of how I look at what's happening right now on offense and our defense. So I'll take a few comments and then we will get out of here for tonight. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay, I'm going to close this one because my guest is gone. Here we go. Frank G, he said, Ravens are work in progress. We are a work in progress. It's week 6. It is. But I do want to see incremental improvement. So, and by that, I mean, if last week we were limited in the amount of sacks that we were able to generate or pressure, then I would expect the next week, that we would improve in that area, in that category. J Biz, welcome into the show. We knew the defense was weak before the season. Should not be surprised. I didn't know that we were that weak, J Biz. And let me tell you the reason I say that. The reason I say that I didn't know that we were weak is because we kept on defense 80%, maybe 85% of our defensive players. We weren't weak last year in terms of our defense. We were one of the best defenses in the league. So with the absence of, I think, 4 players on defense, I know we lost defensive coaching, Mike McDonald. I understand we lost several of our members of our defensive coaching staff to other defensive coordinator positions. But we were a very solid defense last year. And the fact that we maintained the core of our defense, again, with the exception of a couple of players, I think it's 4 that we lost, Geno Stone, what's the other one? I always forget his name. Ronald Darby, Jadeveon Clowney, and Patrick Queen. Other than those 4, we remained pretty much intact. So I'm just speaking for me, J-Biz, I did not think that we were going to see such a huge drop-off this year. Certainly, I expected some level of drop-off just because we had a new defensive coordinator first year, but the playbook was already written up for him. The formula for success with the same players that we had last year was already carved out for him. Now it's just a matter of, okay, we drafted a few players here and there. We added Eddie Jackson. Let's just figure out how we can plug these new pieces in to get, to move forward. So with that, that's my only concern with that statement. Just, I didn't think that we were going to, I didn't think that we were going to be that bad or, that much of a drop off. Joey, thank you. He said, secondary looks confused. They do. A lot of times they really look confused. That's a good way to say it. The defense looks like they are just, and we saw that early on from the miscommunications, improper assignments, not really knowing where they're supposed to be. That's what I don't want to see now in week 6 as we prepare for week 7. And who do we have next week? I think, who do we face? The Buccaneers next week? Let me know in the chat. Who do we have next week? But I'm going to enjoy this win because we should. Beek's got to step up. Yeah, he got a monster contract. He's going to have to. Matabike has to step up. That's just it. Be the change you wish to see. Spags is the test. Spags is what we need to be building to defeat. Okay. Yeah, it is. I agree with you. But we're going to have an answer for the test. So that's it. Osmond said, we all know that a lot of the defensive players is better than they are showing right now. So then why aren't they playing like it? What is and you can help me understand. What is the breakdown? If it's not the players or the players can play better, then what is it? Is it scheme? Is it play call? What is it? Because we're certainly not seeing it. It seems like Orr is still trying to figure out how to position the players for maximum effectiveness. And Osmond, that kind of goes back to my statement earlier, where if that's true, Orr doesn't really have to do a whole lot of figuring out. Mike McDonald did a whole lot of figuring out on his watch. We all know how it was that first year in that game against the Miami Dolphins, where we looked horrible, just terrible, and our defense fell flat. He picked up the pieces. He figured it out. So now when someone takes over, you're not starting with a blank sheet. You're starting with a playbook. You're starting with methods that have been proven to be successful. You come in and you put your own stamp on it, absolutely, because you are your own person. Certainly agree with that. But the figuring out, as much as we are seeing, I don't think it should be. I think we should have a lot of this under our belt by now because Mike McDonald figured out a lot of it. Ravens third ring, missing Mike McDonald for sure. Yeah. Hopefully Peas will help. I agree. Hopefully he will help. The Woo Pig podcast, thank you for joining. A win is an improvement over a loss. That's perspective. Yes, indeed. That I will take all day. We did a lot of things right. We did. And it's good to see. And before we go, I'll show you just a few stats that just brings that statement from the Woo Pig podcast into perspective. Look at some of our offensive stats because I really want to celebrate and praise the offense for getting better. And they are. Oh, this one. Okay, here we go. So looking at some of our stats, Lamar Jackson, obviously we know he is just so good. I'm just gushing over our quarterback. So happy he's with us. He threw today. He completed 20 of 26 attempts, threw for 323 yards. He was sacked one time, but look at how effective our team is overall on offense. Derrick Henry, 24 carries for 132 yards. That's amazing. That's great. For those who said that, oh, Derrick Henry is washed and, he's on the other side of 30 and, he's just not going to be able to produce for you anymore. The numbers show otherwise. We also saw Justice Hill with a carry. Zay Flowers even had a carry. But look at the numbers for Zay Flowers here for receiving yards. 9 receptions, 132 yards. Like Agnes said in the beginning of the stream, we're really starting to see Zay Flowers come into his own. And I think I mentioned it earlier. One thing I love to see about Zay Flowers, although he is on the smaller side for a wide receiver, he is not afraid of contact. He isn't. He goes up, he gets the ball, and then he fights for every yard after the catch. That's amazing. I love to see it. Rashad Bateman was active today with 4 receptions for 71 yards. Mark Andrews made up for the interception that's now on Lamar Jackson's watch with 3 receptions for 66 yards. And Isaiah Likely, he wasn't really involved too much. I would have liked to see him a little bit more, but hey, I'll take it. Everybody is really starting to contribute. We're starting to see our offense come together. Now, if we could get our defense to match that, I think we'd be the unstoppable team because we can't let Zach Ertz or someone like a Zach Ertz on another team have 4 receptions for 68 yards. Scary Terry, 6 receptions for 53 yards. We can't allow that because if we do, we're going to find ourselves in a hole trying to figure it out and to get out of it. That's not what we want. I'll take a few more comments and then we will say goodnight. I see you, Tim Hughes. He said, sorry, I'm late. No problem. I appreciate you coming. But I wanted to say hello and show you guys some love. Yes, show love to our team. We are on our way to the Super Bowl this year. Yes, I hope so, Tim. I hope so. But we have to clean up the deficiencies. We have to right this ship. And in order to do that, yeah. Thank you, Davon. Prime time. Next week, we are prime time Monday night. Thank you, Danity, for joining. Prime time next Monday night against the Bucks. We struggle against elite receivers. So we have a week and a day to work on that. Yes, please, if you are here and you're enjoying the content, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe. If you're new, we are on the road to 1K and we are almost there. You can help me get there. Ecamm says the Bucks are tricky. All of these teams are tricky. I can see us winning comfortably or another shootout. Ooh. My mom is here. Good evening, Mom. Thank you for joining. Crud Knuckles, I am glad you came by. I'm so glad because I said, now Crud Knuckles told me I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. Win or lose, I'm coming. Thank you very much. Congrats on the win. Look, Crud Knuckles, I don't know if you were here earlier, but if you missed it, Rio Robinson joined the show for a little bit just to share his thoughts on the game. And I really appreciate him for doing that. And I said, I know people don't like to hear, because I don't like to hear it when we don't win. Oh, it's a moral victory. You guys did a great job. But honestly, Jayden Daniels is the truth. You've got a really good quarterback. You've got some solid weapons. You figure out what's going on in your defense, and you guys will be a really, really unstoppable team, or a team that's really hard to stop. So Thank you, Crud Knuckles. He said he's praying for our success. Good work on your channel. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, gentlemen, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions for me before we go, type fast. Type fast. Next week, I will be hit or miss on YouTube. You'll have to just make sure that you stay tuned and turn on your post notifications because, I don't know if my schedule is going to be the regular that I normally do. You might catch me on a different day, different time. So just make sure your post notifications are on so that you don't miss you don't miss content on this channel. Yeah. So I'm just looking through some of the comments. Osmond said the defense bottled up JD at least. That was good. But one thing I want to see more, Osmond, I want to see more sacks. We didn't get any this game. 0. None. And that's tough. As a Baltimore Ravens fan who has, come into the Baltimore Ravens space and the sphere and embrace the culture, a tough, hard-nosed defense is what I expect to see. And that means, like Rio said, we can't have the same way that their defense allowed Lamar Jackson all the time in the world in the pocket. We don't want to allow that for our opposing offenses. So if we can get more pressure and if we can get some sacks, if our secondary can get turnovers, we'll be right there. Daryl Jackson, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Class C podcast. Thank you. Commanders have a great quarterback. They do. So great win, team. Let's go celebrate the win. Get ready for some Sunday night football. Who's playing tonight? I don't even know. I really wasn't. I think, wait. I should know because I want to say it's either the Bengals. We got sacks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I not say? Did I say that wrong? We did. We did get a couple of sacks. We sure did. That's my mistake. We did. Let me look again and see who had a sack. So I apologize. We had 3. It looks like we had 3 total sacks today. Okay. So if we can get sacks from our edge rushers, let me say it that way. There you go. Thank you for that, Hendo. But yeah, if we can get some sacks from our edge rushers, that would be key. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. I appreciate you. And to all the Commanders fans who've joined in the chat, thank you. Again, shout out to you, Joe Leonard, for making the connection with me and Joe, with me and Rio Robinson. I appreciate it. I will see you all very soon. Thanks, Davon. Giants versus the Bengals. That's why I said I should have known. Thanks, Frank G, because I wanted to say it was our division rival. So yeah, make sure you go and enjoy. Hopefully the Cincinnati Bengals are going to lose, but Giants are kind of hit or miss. They're good some days and then they're not, but we just want our division rivals to lose. And stop it, Hendo, if we can get an Owe sighting. If we can get a sighting from Odafe Owe, we need one from Kyle Van Noy. We also need one from David Ajabo. I think who had the one sack from our edge? I think it was Yannick Ngakoue, who got here 5 minutes ago. He had a sack. So there you go. There's that. Much love to you all. I will see you very soon. Until next time, you take care, stay safe, and always remember, go Ravens. God bless.